This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
Yes, a half century later, we are still here and glad you are too. Welcome everybody. Happy to have you along for the next 30 minutes. I am Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. Sit tight because we've got a lot of good stuff for you today. Now coming up, real people, real quality, and real service. That is the motto of Southern Valley Farms. Damon Jones on how this one-time small operation is now spread across 2 states and into Mexico. Also on the program, a huge honor for this Putnam County team. How Tyler Gore became the only FFA student from Georgia this year to receive a national grant in ag science.
And then later, something right at your fingertips, the idea of farm to table via the internet. We'll talk to the owner of thedirtfarmer.com and see the valuable service he is offering to local customers. These stories and so much more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
As you know, Georgia grows a wide variety of commodities that can be used to create countless food products. But creating those products takes a lot of time, knowledge, and the right equipment. Today, we travel to the UGA Griffin campus and visit a new state-of-the-art center that's expected to help grow the food industry here in Georgia.
My name is Kirk Keeley. I'm the director of the Food Product Innovation and Commercialization Center here at UGA Griffin on the Griffin campus. What we do here is help food entrepreneurs and food companies bring their products to market. We can input our help and expertise anywhere along that journey, from early concept development all the way to finished product testing. This building is very unique. We have 3 large pilot plants that have environmental controlled chambers for anything from hot, dry, cold, wet, and anywhere in between, depending on what the food or beverage product needs. We also have 3 client suites, so we can have, on a great day, 3 different clients doing development of their products here within FoodPick. It's really important for food entrepreneurs who are trying to get beyond their kitchen. They now can come here and they can use the equipment that we have. They've got our facility and our technical expertise. We can help them with guidance on what they need to do to make their product safe and stable. We can also help if they're not quite sure if it tastes right. We can give them some advice and help them get their product to market. We see an opportunity here with this facility to have workshops, conduct workshops to help entrepreneurs fine-tune their ideas. We could have things like an introduction to beverage technology. Beverage development and beverage innovation is huge, and it's one area that we haven't had that facility before. We've invested in some equipment here that allows us to do very special processing of beverages, making them safe and stable, using high temperatures and short times to preserve flavor, but also give us that safety of the beverage that we need.
This is a canner, and it's used to pan different ingredients or different foods. It would be used, because it rotates, you can add salt from above, and as the potato chips tumble, you can salt potato chips. It's also used to sugarcoat candies like an M&M. You're adding sugar from above, and you're making that sugar shell around the chocolate piece. And that is the first step in making an M&M. You follow that with color, you follow that with a fine polish, and then you have an M&M before you have the M printed on it.
When I think about Georgia, it's a little bit like an artist who has a palette full of colors. Georgia has a palette full of raw materials. Think pecans, peanuts, peaches, blueberries, Vidalia onions. They're all here for a food scientist to take these raw materials, these colors, and combine them to make a masterpiece of a new food product or beverage. That's what I'm excited about.
In other ag news, one of the top vegetable producers in the state is celebrating a milestone this year. Damon Jones takes a look at Southern Valley Farms in Colquitt County, where their year-round operation and state-of-the-art technology started off from humble beginnings.
What began as a vision and a small 100-acre farm 3 decades ago has now grown into a more than 5,000-acre operation spread across 3 different locations, growing everything from their prized pole cucumbers to peppers to even eggplant. And no matter the produce, hard work and great pride go into growing it here at Southern Valley Farms in Norman Park, Georgia.
We have a very intensive spray program, fertilization program. I'm in the fields every day managing, watching over stuff, looking at stuff. We have a scout that helps us look for insects and disease, and he assists me in that.
This is just one of the 3 farms used by Southern Valley, which gives them a unique growing advantage.
Today we are in 3 locations. We have a spring and a fall season here in Georgia, and we have a summer season at our Tennessee farm, and we have a winter production down in Yucatan, Mexico. It allows us to be a year-round producer for our customers.
And it's not just the different locations that give Southern Valley an advantage. Here in Norman Park, they have everything they need to control their produce from the seed to the shelf by making this operation completely self-sustaining.
It allows us to be fully integrated, starting from the seed in the greenhouse, going to planting it in the field. Our harvesters get to harvest it. We get to pack it in our own packing sheds, and we get to ship it out from our own warehouses and packing sheds. So it kind of sets us apart and makes us unique from other competitors.
No matter where you are in the country, you'll likely see this label in the produce aisle, as Southern Valley is quickly becoming a household name.
Most of our crops go all over the East Coast. They go up to New York, Canada. They go all over the U.S. for the most part. You can find our produce at Walmart, Aldi's. We're working on Publix. There's several different places where you can find them. We're starting to sell to Blue Apron.
And that success is part of the reason this company recently celebrated their 30th year in business. And through the years, it has become a staple in this small Georgia community.
You know, God's blessed us and allowed us to grow over the years and give other people a living and provide other people with an income, and our employees, and have a great team along the way. So 30 years is a huge milestone for us. We're very, very blessed.
And one of the things they are most proud of is the fact that it started off and continues to be a family-owned and operated business. It's family pride shown by both Austin and Courtney, who returned to the farm after college and have never looked back.
I love being on the farm. That's my passion. That's what I enjoy to do every morning when I wake up. I rode in a tractor when I was a little boy with my dad, and ever since then I've always loved farming. I went to college and thought I wanted to be an accountant, and I come back to the farm and started farming, and I've loved it ever since.
You know, it's not a front that we put on. We just truly enjoy being around each other and working together, and I enjoy being here. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Reporting from Norman Park, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Damon, thank you so much. Up next on the Monitor, the story of how a simple FFA project changed the course of this young man's life and how others have taken notice. Stay tuned.
Hey y'all, my name is LauraBeth Bland. I'm from Bullitt County, Georgia, and I am the Central Region State Vice President. Within my freshman year, I started going to these ag classes and getting involved in the program, and instantly I fell in love. I got involved in the competitions that we offered, and with our first competition, I actually won first place. They handed me a check for $50, and I said, you know what, I'll see you next year. And so with that, I really just developed a love for agriculture as a whole and the organization.
To learn more about the National FFA organization, log on to ffa.org.
Well, my name's Jared Whitaker. I'm an Extension Cotton Agronomist with the University of Georgia. As far as my role, I'm kind of the leader of the cotton team. We call it the UGA Cotton Team, which consists of extension and research professionals and professors that are working in cotton from the standpoint of all different aspects of production. And I kind of lead that team and lead our delivery and extension of that message to our producers to help them continue to be profitable and make cotton a good crop that it is. As far as my work and my role, I am an agronomic research. I do a lot of that research, a lot of applied type stuff, answering questions that farmers have each year and trying to get quick answers and profitable answers to the questions that arrive every year with cotton production. Cotton prices are volatile and cotton prices aren't where we want them to be as far as being quite profitable. We do have great situations where we can make great yields, and we want to be able to turn that into profits. And I think that's our biggest challenge, is making good yields, making good decisions, and still making sure that we make money in the end. Cotton's one of our most important crops in Georgia. It's our #1 row crop as far as acres and as far as value. And Georgia certainly is a big cotton state. We're traditionally been the second largest growing state in the country, behind Texas. And when a lot of other states have gone to growing more soybeans and more of a grain rotation, we've continued to grow cotton and peanuts in Georgia, and I see that to continue for some time.
16-year-old John Gore, aka Tyler, is living proof of how the FFA can shape a young person's life and help them look towards the future. Today, the Monitor brings you the story of how a simple FFA project became Gore's passion and how it allowed others to take notice. As you enter Putnam County, there's a sign displaying its rich and proud history. It reads, "Welcome to Georgia's dairy capital." It's a sign Tyler Gore has seen countless times. And although he's not looking to rewrite the history books, Tyler is hoping to make his own personal mark.
I wasn't really interested in showing cows at first, and then I got to researching and I saw that you could show goats, and that interested me more than showing a dairy cow. So I got to researching and I figured out how I needed to start out and figured out where I needed to find a goat to show. And I got in touch with one of my local friends, and she got me started with showing goats, and we went down to a breeder in Waynesboro, Georgia, and I leased 2 does from her, and that's how I started out showing goats. At first, I had a stereotype about goats. They're just random junk animals that eat anything, but as I went forward with my project and got my goats, I realized that they're just not a goat. They're more like my pets and part of my family now, more that I take care of them. They're just a part of my family as like my dogs and like that.
Now, believe it or not, raising goats wasn't always a part of Tyler's plan. No, in fact, as a youngster, his emphasis and focus was mainly on baseball and lots of it. Traveled throughout the state, stayed in hotels every weekend. But once he got to high school, something changed.
I think what stood out to me the most with Tyler is he came in my 9th grade class. He said to the entire class that he likes to fish and he wanted to be a marine biologist when he grew up. And he wanted to know when we were going to learn about fish. So I tried to make that connection. We talked a little bit about aquaculture in class, but he kind of, when we started talking about small animals and livestock and ruminant livestock, he kind of latched onto the goat project and took off with it.
And because of FFA, Tyler's list of achievements far exceed anything he accomplished on the baseball field. He's been chapter reporter, chapter treasurer, and currently chapter president for Putnam County. He's also competed in multiple record-keeping competitions, prepared public speaking, job interview, FFA quiz, and placed in all. Arguably, though, his proudest moment came when he learned that the National FFA Foundation had awarded him a $1,000 grant, something they don't give to just anyone.
It's very difficult to get these grants. This year, Tyler was selected as the only student from Georgia to receive a $1,000 grant, and it's based on a student's application and how they present their need for what they want to do and expand their project. By him getting this grant, of course, he'll be able to expand, as you can see, the barn and include a few more goats to his breeding herd.
And to be perfectly clear, what Tyler is doing isn't just a teenage hobby. He treats everything like a business, from cleaning the goats' cages to administering shots, even making sure they have the best quality hay to eat. And all this before he leaves for school and most of the time after. When asked if he has any regrets, Tyler's response, none whatsoever. In fact, raising goats along with teaching will ultimately be a part of his future.
I want to go to Abraham Baldwin Agriculture College down in Tifton and study in agriculture education and become an ag teacher.
I see him being a passionate agriculture teacher in the state of Georgia. I think he's going to represent our state well, and he's really going to make those connections with students that are diversified in their learning. I think it's just a reflection of how hard our students work and how strong they're willing to, or how many hours they're willing to put in a project to keep it going. And not only are we a dairy county, but a county that you can be good and succeed at anything.
Well, just a reminder, if you missed any part of this story or others on today's program, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel. That is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Once there, you can browse the archive of stories dating as far back as 2009.
And once you're done watching all those informative stories, keep clicking and like the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page that we've set up for you. If you have a story idea or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, feel free to send us a message either on Facebook or at the address that's listed there below. It is news@farm-monitor.com. When we come back, his friends call him Joe Dirt, and he's the man behind the dirtfarmers.com. See how this unique concept is providing a valuable service to area consumers.
Tennessee agriculture includes row crop farming, livestock production, and on-farm business ventures like agritourism and direct sales to customers. Agriculture provides our food supply, so we always need people to choose farming as their profession. So consider this agricultural recruiting. UT Extension, along with several partners, is holding a series of workshops around Tennessee called Considerations for Beginning Farmers.
And a lot of these folks are not coming from any sort of background, any sort of history with farming. They didn't grow up that way. They don't have any prior knowledge. They don't have any experience. But it's just some do, but a lot of them, you know, they just think, I want that lifestyle. I want to raise a family like that. I want to do something else.
Topics covered at this meeting in Bradley County included financial management, land purchase options, veterinary and safe food practices, and equipment needs. It's a lot to take in, but valuable information for Michael Hampton and his wife from Lincoln County. They have a meat goat operation they'd like to expand.
We're gonna bring it up. We're gonna roughly get up to around 50 to 100 in the long run, but we're gonna start small and make sure that we understand how to produce and how to market our product to get it out to the consumer.
There are opportunities in agriculture, but also things to consider. UTIA ag economists say people should know there are financial risks involved. Think about off-farm employment for either you or your spouse. Be flexible, and above all else, have a business plan.
It doesn't have to be an extensive business plan, but getting kind of the basics of the business down, what you're hoping to accomplish from it, and then also identifying the resources that you have available to your disposal.
Dr. Aaron Smith recommends beginning farmers diversify, not just produce one thing, but have several options in case part of your operation has a bad year.
For example, you don't want to end up having maybe cotton and tomatoes because those two don't really complement each other from an equipment standpoint. Whereas maybe beef and tomatoes might make sense, or tobacco and beef is obviously an historic one in East Tennessee.
Several more of these workshops are planned around the state in 2017. Agriculture is vital to our society, and for it to have a solid future, it takes land, resources, and people. This is Charles Denny reporting.
Finally today, from the dirt to your door. That is the motto of thedirtfarmers.com, a one-stop internet farmers market founded by Macon, Georgia's own Joe Zawacki, or as his friends call him, Joe Dirt.
Today, the Monitor profiles Joe and his unique concept, which he says is the result of growing up in a small town in western New York, known for dairy farming and its Amish country lifestyle.
You know, growing up, there was a lot of families coming together. Everyone had a spring garden, and if you didn't, you helped out. And everybody got together and did canning for the tough winter months. We all had maple trees, and everyone gathered the sap together, and we all made our own maple syrup. So that was my first true sense of community, of what friendship was, of what township is. Everybody worked together, everybody cried together. So my ag background would be from Belfast, New York, and it's crazy. I leave high school and said I'll never come back to this again, and you know, you go full circle and you come back to the things that made you happiest, and that was my childhood in Belfast, New York. I was in commercial food service, so the big conglomerates that deliver to the hotels, the restaurants, the small mom and pops, the big chains, and April 22nd, 4 years ago, I was sitting down with a group of friends. I had a beverage nap, and I said, you know, how do I take my knowledge and experience in distribution and scale it down and create a need? I was already going to farmers markets. I was going to like 2 or 3 throughout the month. I was shopping 2 or 3 different retailers to find my certified organic fruits and my different grains, and it was really time consuming and an annoying process. So I had this idea of, you know, why can't I try to bring this down to a local level, to bring all these people into one platform? And, you know, everyone wants convenience. In Middle Georgia, you see farmers markets getting slower and slower. If it rains, they're not going out, but the farmers do. So how do you create a sense of income for the farmer that's year-round, whether it's rain or shine, and make it convenient for the consumer? As I built this business, I had a handful of farmers, no artisans. It wasn't a farmer's market concept. It was a traditional strict CSA. You could swap out 1 or 2 items. And I was getting feedback, and you know, nobody wants to eat turnips for 9 weeks in a row, but they want to support the farmer. And then people were dropping out, and I would be, hey, that's great. This isn't for everybody, but tell me why. So they wanted more variety and selection. So I started adding dairy farmers, honey from the honey man, meat from the local meat guys, and to now I basically took the retail concept, because we've added certified organic fruit line, and the local food aspect, to where it's a one-stop shop for you for your local needs. There's over 100 to 150 different items on the online store any given week, and it changes. All our artisans, this isn't a warehouse. We don't have things on a shelf waiting for you to buy like a local grocer. Things are prepared fresh, harvested fresh, peanut butter's made fresh, you know, things like that. So you're gonna learn what we go through, what your local agriculture goes through. We've developed and evolved into where the traditional CSA, it's a subscription. You're committing to us. You're committing to your local agriculture, to your local farmer, to your artisan. So that's an 8-week subscription, but you can do it weekly or you can do it bi-weekly. We offer home deliveries, so we can deliver it to your house. You can pick up at our farm or different pickup locations. The farmers are my new family. They're my new norm. They're my new friends, and they've been essential to our growth, and we've grown together. We've learned a lot. Some of the farmers were able to leave their full-time jobs to be able to do this full-time. Some of the farmers still work a full-time job and do this because they're a smaller farmer. But it's been a great marriage, a great story for all of us involved, and it's really helped stabilize what they want and meet a need that the community wanted.
And for more information on thedirtfarmers.com or how to become a member, just simply log on to the address you see there on the screen, thedirtfarmers.com. Click on How It Works tab, and you can also like them on Facebook. Very, very cool concept. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Just a reminder, for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm, be sure and check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and the Farm Monitor Show.
Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Have a great week.